Hey, this is Pastor Q. Listen, I have a quick question for you, and that question is, are you mad yet? Are you making a difference? And part of our vision in 2024 is to make sure that every family has life insurance. So I partnered this year with Crystal Clear Insurance Group. And the reason why we've done that is because 50% of African Americans do not have coverage. So it's our goal, it's our vision to make sure that every family gets that opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm so excited about this partnership with Pastor Baker because we want to make sure for 2024 that you have life insurance. We're trying to cover the world. I'm available each and every day, and especially after service, you can meet with me. But contact me because GoFundMe's are out for 2024. But I am here. We're excited to get you covered. And again, me and Pastor Baker want you to get covered for 2024. Thank you. My number's below.
Yes, welcome.
I know you guys missed us. It is our Father's Day edition today.
Fathers,
Welcome. Pastor Baker here with his cowboy jersey on.
Boo.
Let's go.
Oh, God.
I will say at the beginning we wear jerseys, just to represent baseball, football, or whatever sport, just for the dads for their Father's Day edition. But we do have the cowboy jersey first with our pastor. Yeah.
Yay.
We also have his son. We call him Debo. Over here to the right with his
Welcome,
shirt.
All right, Debo.
all right.
Thank you for having me, ladies. Thank you.
All right. You gave me that low voice then. I hear you now. All right. And also we have Mr. John here. He's representing the brand.
All right, Mr. John, yes.
Welcome, Mr. John, to the
Thank you very much.
View.
Thank you.
I hope you guys are ready. Now, ladies, how have you guys been this week?
Doing well.
Fantastic, doing great.
Doing well. Good.
Perfect.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I'm not going to go one by one since it's all about the men today.
Yes.
I get so tired of hearing they don't give the Father's Day no type of love when it's Father's Day.
Yeah.
They don't give any commercials.
Yes.
And I'm so tired of hearing that. Because some of us actually do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give and bless the fathers.
Yes,
Father's
we
Day.
do.
So,
We do.
We do.
We do.
We're going to try to rebuke that for 2024. So
Yes.
we honor our fathers. Because they do deserve it.
Yeah.
But Jesus, Father of them all, deserves all praise.
All right.
Amen.
Father,
Glory.
yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, amen.
All right, so we're going to first, before we start with our questions tonight, we got some juicy ones for our fathers and also for the ladies as well. So we're going to go to our auntie over here who's going to give us a scripture tonight, Miss Tanya.
Hi, everyone. So my scripture is coming from Ephesians 6 and the 4th chapter, and it says, "And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but nurture them in the chastening and admonition of the Lord," which I think is very important. When you use, when you hear the word nurture, and listen how God is asking fathers to nurture their children.
That's good. That's good, Tanya.
People don't normally think of that, but it is important. So God is commanding and saying, nurture them. So fathers are supposed to nurture their children.
And
So,
fathers
yes.
aren't always looked at as being nurturing.
Correct.
Yeah.
But that obviously, God wouldn't have said it unless he knew that men as fathers have the ability to nurture.
That's right. Amen.
He wouldn't have said it.
That's
So,
good.
yes.
That's good.
That's nice. I like that.
Absolutely.
All right. That's a good scripture. Thank you so much, Tanya. We're going to go right in with our questions for our fathers today. We all have different walks of life with our fathers, and also fathers that have different walks of life as well. So we're going to kick it off. And the first question that I have, and I'm going to give it to Pastor, and also the rest of the men on the panel. I'll let him answer first. What has been some of the good and bad experiences with your kids?
Good and bad experiences. I think some of the good experiences definitely is just to be able now to look back and having a third child graduate from high school, going to college,
Those are great experiences. So
Wonderful.
I'm actually at a place now. I'm like, okay, we got one more
Yes.
one more river to cross.
Yes.
So those are the good experiences. I think for me, I don't know if I have too many bad experiences as a father with my children. I think for me personally, if I could have changed one thing, I would have had all 4 of my children, but I would have preferred to have been in the home with them and their mother versus
Yes.
not being able to be home with my children. So that was the bad experience for me.
Okay. That's good.
What about you, Mr. John?
So I'm going to piggyback off the pastor somewhat. So for me, both of my kids are grown, and just to see them be able to, mature, become grown-ups, become the adults that they are, and living the lifestyle that they are living. In our household, they was raised, with a mother and a father, so they had that influence of a mother and a father. And I remember when my son was very young, he came home one day and he was telling his mama that such and such said he didn't have no daddy, and we was trying to tell him yes he did. He couldn't understand because he lived in a household with a mother and a father, so he couldn't understand.
Right.
So but it's truly especially in today's society, that your kids are at adult age, and you raised them, the best you could, not being perfect because none of us are perfect, but you did the best you could. And one of the rewards from that was, I remember my son, after he, got out on his own, he called me one day and he said, "Hey, Dad, I just called to say thank you." And I'm looking at the phone like, wait a minute, is this my son? What's going on here? Thank you. So I asked him, I said, well, what's that all about? He said, thank you for teaching me how to do things,
Amen.
One of his friends' car broke down, and the guy couldn't even give himself, he didn't know how to jump the car off. And my son was, there to show him. But, that taught me a lesson also, maybe he, the times that I thought he wasn't listening, he really was.
Just listen.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
So that was, a great moment for me, as a father, just to know that, he got what I put out. So
That's
it.
good.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Dadiba, we know you have a 1-year-old.
Yes, so I've only been a father for 1 year. The great thing about it, it's not really so much experiences, besides, hearing those first couple of words, seeing them walk the first time, just seeing them change day by day, just the small little things. I really don't have anything bad right now, besides, like my father said, just having both of my kids in one home. That's something, I wouldn't say it bothers me because I still have a relationship with both of my children, but I do feel like it would be, I guess, a little bit better for me if I was able to love on both of them just all the time in the same home.
Okay.
That makes sense.
All
Makes
right.
sense. Makes sense.
That's good. That's good right there. All right. Question number 2. What are some of the strengths and weaknesses as a father? Pastor is texting during the live. What are some of your strengths as a father and weaknesses as a father?
I believe one of my weaknesses as a father is my children themselves. That's a weakness. Like I had to learn how to tell them no. I'm still learning how to tell them no. That's a weakness for me, because because I think one of the hardest things for any parent, especially, is to see your children struggle.
Yes.
And so your mind is saying, no, I need to make him or her work for this and learn and earn. But then that father in me is like, yeah, but you don't want your child suffering. And so I believe for me, that's one of my weaknesses, because I feel like if I got it, they got it. And sometimes I probably shouldn't do that. I should say, yeah, I got it, but they're going to have to figure out a way to earn it. But, again, that's my weakness, because, especially with them girls of mine, my boys, they're a little bit different. But them 2 daughters of mine, everything go out the window.
Can't tell them no. Can't tell them no.
Oh, no, and I'm like that with my boys, too. I think some of my strengths, as far as a father, is my strengths came from my experience with my father. And so there are things that I do now, making sure my children are together, making sure that they communicate with each other, making sure my kids don't ever go without checking on each other. Because I'll call, have you talked to your brother? No, contact me. Have you talked to your sister? Because that's important for me. Just to lead them, I think a strength of mine is too, you know, I'm not going to allow my church, no matter how old they get, I'm still your father. There's going to be a respect factor. Just teaching them how to be God-fearing, you know, human beings in this life. Are they perfect? No. Am I perfect? No. But I know that my children have a relationship with God, so my strength to me has been able to lead them and be an example, and for them to learn that, hey, the Pastor Quinn that we have now, the father that we have now, ain't the Pastor Quinn and the father we had 10, 15 years ago. So they've been able to learn and see growth, and I think pure growth, transparency with our children, it helps them to grow better because we're not trying to pretend like we've always had it together. So that's definitely a strength of mine for me.
That's awesome.
That is good.
Mr. John?
Okay, so my weakness, I would say, to piggyback off Pastor again, you know, when it comes to my kids, you know, I truly believe that, you know, I don't want them to suffer, you know, especially my daughter. You know, my son, I am much tougher on him, you know, because the way I was raised, you know, I didn't have my father in my household, but my grandfather instilled a lot in me, you know, as a man. So I've raised my son the same way, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's the way I raised him, you know. So I'm a lot tougher on him. But there is a breaking point when it comes to him. You know, I don't want him to suffer. Neither do I want my daughter to suffer, simply because she's a woman, you know. And I remember one of my friends, you know, he used my wife and I as an example. He's like, you know, when we purchased my son a car, we gave him the car that my wife used to have. But when it came time for my daughter to get a car, we bought her a brand new car. You know, simply because I don't want her to have, you know, a situation where a car breaks down or whatever the case may be. You know, with my son, if the car breaks down, you need to try to fix it. You know, you know? So that was my strength, you know, and my weakness there. You know, one of the other strengths that I have is because I was raised, you know, the way I was raised with my grandfather and hardcore. So I am somewhat hardcore on my kids, you know. I expect certain things, you know, like my son couldn't sleep in the morning. No, you need to get up, you know. And my kids to this day, you know, they can get up, you know. It ain't about no alarm clock. They can get up, you know. And they both, you know, no matter what they do, because again, they're not perfect. No matter what they do, how long they stay out, they both go to work, you know. And that's in them, you know. They're gonna get up. I don't care if my son stay out at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock, if he got to go to work, he gets up and go to work. Same thing with my daughter. She can get up and go to work because that's what I instilled in them.
And Mr. John, you said hardcore. I don't even see that. What?
John pretty rough.
Wait a minute. You been putting on. Wait a minute.
We've been getting a representative the whole time.
because you wasn't around me, you know. Even the kids in my neighborhood, oh, there go Mr. John, you know. They popped on with Mr. John. That's just who I was, you know.
Now that I think about it, you do got one of them mean names, Mr. John. I don't even remember Mr. John. So I get it.
We're going to go with Sergeant Woodard.
Wow, okay. I'm learning a lot sitting here today. What about you, Devo?
Well, again, I've only been a father for 1 year, so with my weakness, I think it's just having the patience right now. With them being one, they're starting to do a lot of activity where they're just all over the house, doing a lot of whining where they don't get what they want. So I'm trying to be patient on understanding that there's still only one. Sometimes they do things where it makes me feel like they can understand me better, but I have to still remind myself, DeAnthony, these children are 1 year old, so you have to be patient with them and how they're just exploring. They're still figuring out this world. A strength of mine is just me being a loving father. When it comes to me, how I was raised, both of my parents were loving. They were in my life, totally supporting me, everything I do. So the way that I treat my children now, even if it's a slight fall or anything, just the way I love on them, support them, I feel like that it pays off early. I don't want to wait till it's too far in their life to where like, oh, my dad doesn't love me or he didn't, you know, show me this when I was young. So I think that's a good strength of mine, just being there and being that loving father.
That's good. That's awesome. That's good. The patience and yes, I love it. Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm still learning more and more about these guys in here. All right. The next one. And, oh, yeah, that's for all of you guys. What would you say is the difference between parenting a daughter and a son?
That's a real good
That's
question.
good right there.
That's real good.
I think it still goes back to one of those things that I can treat everybody right, but I can't treat everybody the same. I just can't when it comes to my daughters and my sons. When it comes to my daughters, there's a different connection I feel like fathers and daughters have, just like when mothers and sons have. So those daughters are a little bit more they're more protective of their dad. You know, we had that little relationship that we have versus my son. I'm a little bit more like John too, because I know at times Josh will probably be like, man, why I get this, you know, but, you know, and I'm with you, John. The other morning I had to go and I'm like, it wasn't even morning no more. I recognized it was like the afternoon and I opened the door and I said, Josh, I said, what you doing? He was in the bed, he like, sleep? I said, get out the bed, man. I said, get out the bed, get this room cleaned up. I said, you confused? He said, yeah, because Josh was looking like, why can't I sleep all day? Now, if there had been Raven or Morgan, I probably wouldn't have said, hey, now, you know, go ahead and get on. My voice is a little bit softer. My approach is a little bit lighter when it comes to my daughters, but my sons, I'm a little different because I feel like if it's anything I know, I'm raising with my boys, I'm raising a father, I'm raising a husband. And so I want to be a little bit tough on them because, you know, as black men, we know life is going to be tough on us. And so for my daughters, I'm a lot softer. I'm definitely softer when it comes to my approach with them. But I believe there's still times when I have just real conversations with them. You know, yesterday, while we walking the campus and talking, me and Morgan got a chance to have some real conversations. Daddy was not really ready to have these conversations. But guess what? I know that somebody else ain't having the conversations with their sons that I'm having, so I gotta have this conversation with my daughter. And you know, I'm like, hey, don't let nobody bring you a drink. If you're gonna get you a drink, you get your own drink.
That's right.
You know, and I had to just, you know, present some things to her. With my sons, you know, I'm a little different. I remember when this boy, for those of you all don't know, this is my boy. Now, I remember like it was day, Crystal. I remember when Debo was no longer the little pure Debo. I remember like it was day. I remember we was at a mall, and the boys, they was around about 17. I don't remember the age. I just remember that they was walking. And the boys, you know, then the boys like, man, I'm gonna give me some numbers. You know, that was the thing. I'm gonna get some numbers. They walk around. We was near the little food court and everything. They walk in. They like, yeah, we gonna get some numbers. We gonna get some numbers. But this one, he just walking with me watching them. I said, why he ain't trying to get no numbers? Why he so calm? I said, wait a minute. This boy has made it over to the other side.
What's the other side?
The other side.
He knew exactly.
He knew he wasn't trying to rush no more. He don't been there, done that.
I got you.
I read it right between it. I said, wait a minute. I promise you, I got home. I called his mom. I said, wait a minute. I told her the whole story. And she said to me, she said, Quinn, I'm going to have to go in here and tell you. I said, tell me what? And when she told me, I said, Sharita, I knew it. I knew it. And see, now, had that been my daughter. Oh, Lord. They would have had to call 911. But a true moment is, for a minute, I ain't never tell him, but I was like, my boy straight.
Yeah, exactly. I knew he was going to.
My boy could. It went right. It went right.
It went right.
But
it was real.
Talking about the difference between raising your father, your son,
That's right.
and your daughter.
That's
you know?
true. That's
when,
true.
When Debo was dating the little girls and stuff, like, look at boy, got you a little cute one, boy. Got you a little cute one. I'm looking at Raven like,
you been that. Wow. What a difference.
It is.
What a
That's
difference.
True. Really big difference. difference.
It's a difference. It really, really is. Wow. What about you, Mr. John?
So that is the biggest difference there, you know. The rules and regulations are the same. You know, the rules, the regulations, they are there. But, you know, you want to guard your daughter. You know, you want to protect her as long as you can. But you also got to be mindful not to protect her too much.
That's right.
So because you'll push her away, you know. And, you know, the pastor come in, you know, my son, you know, when he started dating, you know, you're proud, you know, your dad stick his chest out, you know, hey, that's my boy, you know, he's doing his thing, you know, whatever. Now, when your daughter start dating, it's a whole different story, you know. You want to bring the handcuffs out. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, you know, because I remember, you know, the first time, you know, a young guy came to the house, you know, I got to have her sit down and talk to her. Talk to her. But it was totally different when a girl came to see my son. It wasn't about sitting down and talk to her. No, it's because the responsibility is more so, if the case came where they got pregnant, then it would be more so on her parents as opposed to on his parents. You know, and the same thing with my daughter. If she got pregnant, then that's on me and my wife as opposed to, you know, the guy's parents. So you have to instill that in them and teach them, you know, and be protective at the same time because, again, you don't want your daughter to, you don't want neither one of them to fail, but you don't want your daughter to fail. Right. You know? So you're more stern on the daughter. You know? I know I was more stern on the daughter, and a lot of times I had to, you know, my wife would tap me on the shoulder, you know, say, hey, you know, you're being too tough, you're being too hard, you know. I remember when she came to me, my wife told me one time, you know, my daughter told a guy, you know, he can't talk to her unless he at the same standards as your dad. And I had to tell her, wait a minute, baby, your dad ain't always been here. You know, pump your brakes. Pump your brakes, you know. You can't compare a 19-year-old to a 50-year-old. You know, you gotta pump your brakes. Your dad might buy you a car, but that 19-year-old, he can't buy you a car. Pump your brakes. You're going to miss out on a whole lot. Your dad ain't going to protect you for the rest of his life. I
Don't miss your blessing now.
Wow. Big difference. And I think, too, you know, depending on, again, the structure of your home kind of helps. That's why I always say, God, I don't know how people don't believe in God. God knew exactly what he was doing when he created male and female. And for us to have been married, to wait on sex, to get married, to have sex, to then reproduce and have children, all in that family, all in that one home, because now you're able to present certain things like the common balance of waking up and seeing mother do things and the son seeing, you know, father doing things. You see things from a different perspective, but for the most part of the African American home now, most of the homes now are mixed blended families. And so, you know, you're bringing in things now, so it's kind of like, you know, you have a father in the house that could be a father to children outside of the house, but the children in the house have a father somewhere else, and do that family operate good enough to where they're even taking instructions from the father who ain't their father? You know, so the daughter who's saying, she ain't my mama, you know, so all those different dynamics when you're raising raising daughters and raising sons, you want to have the same, like John said, the rules and regulations don't change, but when it's, I believe, this is why I wholeheartedly encourage anybody, a father and mothers, if you're single but you have children, you really got to have some deep conversations with the people you're dating when it comes to parenting. Yes. Because what you think and how you feel in raising a child, and you get with somebody else and y'all recognize, wait a minute, we got two different thought patterns. And so, you know, where you as a mother probably would never tell, you know, your husband's children things, he probably feel like, no, it's all right. And you like, are you serious? Did you tell my daughter, you let our daughter go out at 2 o'clock at night and you talking about she'll be okay, you know what I'm saying? But if her dad knew that, then he finna come over how he wanna fight everybody.
It's a problem.
So I think, you know, when it comes to, that's one thing I love about the Wooders. I highly love that about them, the fact that they, you know, their family structure. I'm sure, you know, throughout the years, you know, all of us have challenges, but, you know, the fact, I like to see families where it's the mother, the father, and the children. Not to say that blended families can't work, so don't y'all do me like that. I'm not saying that they can't work, But I am saying when it comes to parenting your daughters and your sons, what's the difference? And you have a blended family, you have to have those conversations. It's certain things right now that I don't feel like should happen when it comes to my daughter and my sons. I don't even, there was a long time where I would tell the boys, when Raven and Morgan is over here, put your shirts on.
Yes.
Put your shirts on. And somebody else may say, why are you so strict? Put your shirts on. When these girls over here, these are still girls. They're my daughters. These are your sisters. You know what I mean? There's a type of respect I have to.
Absolutely.
I had to make sure. But that could go a different way in another house. So yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a good point right there. What about you, Debo?
Well, these two fathers here are more seasoned than I am.
I know.
They've been through those steps when they've had to see their daughter bring another man to the house and have to meet a boyfriend or whatnot and all that good stuff. Well, I wouldn't say good, but all that stuff. For me right now, I would say that it's pretty much the same. Cause I'm tough with my son. I'm not tough to where I'm.
You need to be tougher. That little boy. Go ahead.
Don't do that.
I wouldn't say to where I'm just, just throw them all over the place. We play fight. Just do little toddler things. With my daughter, of course, I have to play with her little dolls, do a little hair, try to do a little teeth. Hey,
Same thing I'm saying.
I gotta do it.
gotta do
This is my
it.
daughter. This is my
Don't do
baby
that.
girl.
You play with a couple dolls too. Don't do that.
This is
Have
my
a
baby girl.
conversation.
It's at that age right now. That's what she's interested in.
Right.
So I want to show her that. All right, this is what makes you happy. Then let me connect with you in a way so I can play with you. all.
Yes, that's
Absolutely.
good. That's it.
That's good.
The connection.
I
The
got you.
connection.
So you telling your father you at home playing Joanna Man?
A whole basketball movie, and then it's not with dolls.
That's crazy. No, but with me, it's just all about the connection. Whatever is the
Yes.
best way with me to connect with my kids.
That's so important.
exactly
Absolutely.
right.
That's good.
Not all
That's
fathers do
good.
that
Talking
too,
about
so
Joanna.
that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
I do too.
I love it, Debo. That's
Yeah,
so
and she
cute.
loves it and he loves it too.
Yeah,
That's
That
all
means you got a
is.
sensitive side. You got a sensitive side.
Says the man who cries a lot. So you can't tell.
Okay.
I want to say too, before I go to these next couple of questions, Facebook, if you have any questions, you go ahead and put it in on the chat so we can answer those questions, or any questions for any of the men on the panel as well. Please ask away. All right. Next question. How did your relationship with your father impact you as a parent?
I want to go first on this one.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, come on, Debo.
So, my dad, Quentin Baker.
Now, Debo, don't have your daddy crying on the show.
No. I'm not gonna do it like that. No, growing up, he has taught me a lot of things. One main thing my dad has always said to me a lot growing up is, because I wouldn't say I had a problem with women. I was interested. I was a real, just interested in women a lot. So he would see sometimes when I would stare off and not be focused, he would say, "Son, you always lose money chasing women. But you never lose women chasing money."
Ooh.
And he always told me this too. He say, you gotta take care of your business before your pleasure. Because growing up a lot, I would not be as focused as I should be.
You were spoiled.
That too. I would have my way, so I wasn't.
Yep.
I wouldn't say that they kind of gave me everything.
They
but
did.
But they did.
They kinda did.
It took, like he said, it took the way that will for me to actually learn and go and kind of what they say now, jumping off the porch and doing it on my own,
Right.
finding my own way how to get things done now. And now it didn't. It started to play effect as I grew up older. As I got to college, I'm like, ooh man, what am I doing? I've never worked a job. I don't know how to
Right.
save my money. I don't know how to, my finances are just, as soon as I get something, pockets empty already. So like, it took me a while to understand that I had to actually start to learn how to do things on my own. But him, as I got older and we got closer, just him being a good example, as he got better with his life, it seemed like I got started to get better with mine.
Because
I had somebody
That's good.
to follow some footsteps. Not just somebody just reckless all over the place. Of course, we all have, our challenges in life, but once he really started to show how a man is supposed to be, how a father is supposed to lead and whatnot, it definitely changed my life. It changed my
Oh,
life.
that's good. That is good.
John, his mama called me. He was in college. He was in college, and Debo's always been a charismatic, young man. He's always had because I was a dresser, so I taught him to dress. So he always had this approach. He always had the swag. All the kids and everybody wanted to follow Debo. Even in high school, he playing a little baseball star and 2 and 3 girls at the game with his name on their shirts. And I'm like, do they all know that who the girlfriend? I said, this boy. And his mom, me and her used to tell him, I said, quit doing everything for this boy. You're making it hard on you. You're making it rough on him. And I say to every parent, every father, and we talked about this, just because you can don't mean you should.
That's right.
And, Debo was tremendously spoiled. He had my side of the family. He had his mother. He had his grandparents. Everybody was always doing for Debo. So when he got to college, Debo wasn't used to having to hear no and struggling. And so one day his mama called him. She said, you ain't going to believe this. I said, what? She said, I had to send Debo some money. I said, for what? She said, he be needing food. I said, okay, well, that's cool. Lover man got us sponsoring him in this room.
Oh, my God.
He in the room cooking shrimp and lobster. I said, wait a minute. Here I am eating sloppy joes. He eating crab legs and everything. And I think a part of that, it was not his fault. Some of that was...
Right.
It was what we did and allowed as parents. And so for me, what I learned from, I share this with my best friend, John. Me and him talk about it a lot because we talk about our fathers and how we were raised. And I used to be the one who used to always I wanted my father in the house. I was younger. I wanted my mom and dad together. I think that's typical for some kids. I wanted my mother and father together. And then my best friend put it to me like this one day. He said, based upon what you told me about your father, is that who you wanted at home with your mother? And I had to learn then. I was like, wow, because my father, he's been with his significant other. They've been together for almost 30-something plus years. So I had what I call bonus brothers and sisters. And I felt so bad because one day in the midst of me trying to be upset because I didn't have the father in my house, I was like, well, my dad over there with her children, this is stuff kids know. My dad over there with her children, he ain't over here with me.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad. Because I had a conversation with one of my bonus brothers one day, and to know what they had to go through. Grow up under, I just felt so bad because my father did have a condition. I grew up, my father he's always been a great man. He's always been a working man. He's always had good credit. He always kept his money together, but he just had a condition. And that condition caused so much problems with my bonus brothers and sisters. And so while I was wanting, my dad at home, I look at it sometimes and say, God actually protected you from not seeing that. And so I took a lot of what happened between me and my father and said, I don't want that to happen between me and my children. Now, I can't lie. And a lot of people don't, believe in generational curses, and I get that. I do. Because my father's father was an alcoholic. My dad was an alcoholic. I went through alcoholism, and that's why I'm on my son's hook.
My Lord.
Gotcha.
Yeah. My.
I don't ever want him to have to go through the stuff I went through.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And so it angers me to hear parents tell their children, oh, they got to go through it. You went through it. Your children don't have to go through what you went through.
That's it.
That is not the map or the journey that they have to go through because you failed in those areas.
Right.
And so the absenteeism of my father, we're in a much better place now, but we're still not what I would want for me and my children. So I tried to make sure I hug on them more because I didn't get hugs. I didn't get that kind of support from my father. I didn't get the father showing up at the baseball games and the, you know, the band and the cheerleading and all those things that I try to. So the father I am now, I'm not angry. I want to put this out there. I'm not angry at my father at all anymore.
Right.
Because there was years that I stayed angry at him. And I'm like, well, you know, you have become a new creature in Christ Jesus. Old things have passed away. So you have to say to yourself, now it's time for me to say, you know what? I can't get angry at my father because of some things his dad did. And see, this is one thing I have to share with parents. If you're not careful, you will become the person that you hated. So my father hated his father, and he became his father. I started to hate my father, and I was becoming my father. And I said, oh no, we got to do something about this. And so the way I parent my children now, a lot of it came from just not wanting to repeat a whole nother cycle from what I seen from my father, my children having to see it from me.
That's good.
Oh, that's good.
Absolutely right.
Wow.
So for me, again, I wasn't raised in the household with my father. I knew who my father was, but I wasn't raised in the household with my father. And I think that, I know that put a strain on our relationship. And it did for many, many years. However, it instilled something in me too, because I didn't want to carry that on to my kids.
Right.
You know, no matter what my wife and I went through, I wanted to be there for my kids. You know, one of the best days in my life was when she said, hey, you know, we're about to have a baby, you know. I wanted it to be, my first one to be a boy, you know, and I still remember, it was one of the most joyful days of my life, you know, and not having that father there, you know, support me, to guide me, to, you know, take me to basketball practice, baseball practice, or whatever, you know. I made sure I was there for my kids, you know, and it really put a strain, like Pastor was saying, it really put a strain on my father and I. Did I hate him? No, I didn't hate him, you know, because after, you know, became an adult, it instilled in me that, you know, I didn't have to have him in my life. You know, God has, you know, already mapped out the roadmap for me. You know, he had already ordained my steps, you know, where he wanted me to be. You know, unfortunately, it wasn't my father in my life. In 2018, God changed things for both of us. You know, my father was on his deathbed, you know, and I got a phone call because, again, you know, it was always instilled in me to be, you know, the leader of my siblings. And my sister called me and said, hey, you know, Dad is definitely ill, you know, and you need to come. And God had fixed it for me. So I'm in a situation where, and I left Jacksonville every weekend for an entire year and went down to that hospital and sat with my father. And I told you guys now, he wasn't in my life, so we didn't have that father and son connection.
Right.
But God had made it where he placed my father in a position where you got to depend on your son, that you wasn't even in his life. Now you got to depend on him. And he put me in a position where, you know, I don't care how much anger you had about your father not being in your life, now you got to go take care of your father.
Yes.
And until this day, I take care of my father, you know, because that's where God had ordained our steps, you know. And it mended the relationship. We're in a much better place now, but it took that point, you know. And so when you say that, you know, you hate your parents because of what they did, you shouldn't. You know, it angers you at the time, but as you grow and as you grow into Christ, you should become a better person.
That's right.
You know,
That's right.
and you should let that anger grow. You know, and it's hard. I'm not saying that it's easy for anybody to let it go, but you have to let it go so that you can have what God has for you.
That's right.
You know, and even looking back at it, my kids can look back at it and say, you know what? They saw that their granddaddy wasn't in my life, but look what my daddy did, you know, and that teaches them something also.
Absolutely.
You know? So that's it for me.
Wow.
That's
That's
real
good.
That's
Ooh,
real
there's some
good.
good stuff up here. Okay.
good examples.
Last question for you guys. As a father, were you taught the importance of health and wealth?
Yes and no. For people that know me, they know that, like John said, even though my father wasn't really in my life like that, I was super blessed to have my grandfather in my life, who y'all know I have deemed the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Not just from a pulpit standpoint or a ministry standpoint, just the way he treated the family, the way I would see that man when my grandmother was on her deathbed, and I seen that man feed her and take the sandwich and cut it, and in the hospital bed feeding my grandmother, I was like, I got to be like this man one day, you know. And so I learned so much from him, and I tried to mimic him so much. And you know, when I preached the message Sunday, you know, find your shoes, I wanted my grandfather's shoes looked so good. It looked so good. I mean, 7 kids, same woman, you know, married for 50 plus or however many years, and you know, pastor to one church. And I'm like, man, this dude just got some amazing shoes. You know, he financially took care of the family, this and third. But I was learning the minute things. Like my grandfather would say, get all you can and can all you get. What does that mean, Granddad? So he would give me that old stuff.
Yeah.
And that was his way of teaching.
Yeah.
You know, but it didn't teach me nothing. I'm like, get all you can and can all you get. It took me almost 5 years to learn he was talking about a can.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know he was talking about like get all you can and can all you get. So everything you get, put it in a can. I ain't know that. I was see you didn't know that either.
Right on over my head.
And I'm like, get all you can all you get. So I was going around telling folks that you need to get all you can and can all you get. And everybody looking like, what is you talking about? So that's how I learned finances. And back then, you know, it wasn't a lot of health education in the church or, you know, in our community like we have today. So, you know, that's why I try to make sure that we have ministry opportunities here at the People's Church, because I know growing up, it wasn't a lot of health information, so they wasn't teaching us stuff. You know, everything we did, macaroni, cheese, fried chicken, you know, hog, everything, every
Good
time.
stuff.
So
Woo.
it wasn't until I got here and God started showing me some things. And it's to this day, people still ask me, how did you come up with Salad Sunday? Because I knew we wasn't doing healthy things. Everything was, gotta have that fried chicken, gotta have this, gotta have that, gotta have that. And actually, Salad Sunday is one of the best food Sundays that we have. People are still asking.
Yes, very good.
So was I taught health? No, I wasn't. So guess what I did? My children, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 is Debo and Raven. Phase 2 is Joshua and Morgan. Phase 1 and phase 2, they love Cokes. You know why? They seen their daddy with Cokes. They seen me drinking Cokes all the time. They love Reese's Cups. Why? They seen their daddy eat Reese's Cups. They seen me eating chips, salt and vinegar potato. The same bad habits that they seen me, I was pouring over to them because nobody really ever stopped me. My mama never made me drink water. Only time we drank water because we were too hot outside and we grabbed that water hole, the rubber water hole, and we would drink water.
That's some good water right there. That's some good
But
water
that was the
Sleep on that whole
only
pipe
water.
water.
That was
Yes.
the only water we drank. I mean,
Yes.
I'm just being honest. I don't even remember when we made the transition from
Fountain.
sink water to bottled water.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know how
Bottled
that
water.
happened
I didn't
either.
even know we had
So
bottled
bougie,
water.
so bougie.
That was something new for me. I said white people don't keep the bottled water out of our neighborhood for the last. So we ain't see no bottled water. Only thing I'm talking about, it was water hose, Kool-Aid, and my granddaddy loved tea.
Kool-Aid, definitely.
That's
That's what we
it.
had. So
That's it.
my kids now drink a lot of water. I don't know where they got it from because they didn't get it from me. So I wasn't taught a lot of health stuff. And that go back to, again, to those relationships. You know, my father was never calling me or, you know, nobody saying, hey, you need to make sure you go to the doctor. You need to make sure as a young man you check yourself. You need to make sure you do this. Most African-American men back in my day, all of my friends, the one who didn't have a father, we were each other's educators. Boy, you did that. Hey, boy, you know, we were the one trying to teach each other about condoms and stuff like that. And, you know, because the church was so holy, they didn't want to teach certain things. And, But they were the first ones to want to condemn these kids.
Absolutely.
When they came home with STDs and all these different stuff, because we just thought if we just preach Jesus from the pulpit, then everything is gonna be all right.
Yes.
No, you got 12 nurses in your congregation. Let them go get this information and bring it back to this church and teach on diseases and teach on different things. But we got the Holy Rose that say, no, the Bible say. Man, the Bible been saying it all our life, and it ain't stopped folk from doing some of the things that we do.
That's
So we
right.
got to be proactive. And I think too, again, most of my life I've learned from failures. That's been most of my story. As a business owner, I learned from failure. As a pastor, I've been learning from failure. As a father, I learned from failure. So when it came to like health and stuff, I had to learn some of this stuff from just failure. Didn't nobody teach me. My mama tried. So when people say, yeah, a woman can do what a man can do, that is a lie. That is a lie when it comes to fathering. My mother she could provide, she can go, but when it came down to it, there was some stuff mama just couldn't do.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cause guess what?
right. That's true.
Y'all know I'm about the realest pass out there. Let me tell y'all something. John,
Come on. Come on.
I got some parts my mama ain't got.
Come on now.
Talk to me.
So how she gonna teach me about a part she ain't got? So
Right.
that's why some stuff I can't teach my daughter. She got a part. Why y'all looking at me like I'm crazy now?
We hear you. We hear you.
And we be
It's
acting
so
like,
true.
That
We
is
hear
true.
you.
So true.
Yes.
So when it came to certain stuff, you know, his mom, they come. You need to talk to Debo, because she knew she couldn't.
She couldn't
That's
do
right.
it, yeah.
That's
you know,
right.
And even like with health situation, the body, and you know different things, and
Yes.
finances. You know, like, and I'll be honest with you, that was some stuff I couldn't teach them finances when they were younger because I didn't learn till later. So sometimes Debo and Raven, well, not so much Debo, but Raven, Pooh, if you're out there listening, they think that phase 2 is getting the better dad.
Oh, wow.
Phase 2 is getting the better dad.
Right.
That's true.
I was not where I am now. I didn't think like I think now. I didn't look at credit like I did. I mean, when I was becoming a father, I was 19 years old. Riches was giving me credit cards. Y'all act like y'all don't know.
Riches. Okay, Riches.
I remember that.
Look, you know, it took me a long
remember
time to say
Riches.
Macy's. I used to always say Riches. You're like, Chris, what are you talking about? I'm sorry.
So, you know, I'm learning to be a father. They giving me all these credit cards. The family ain't talking nothing about credit because ain't nobody taught them nothing about
Right.
credit.
Right.
So I had to take years of failing to learn finances and still having to learn some things about finances. Still, so, you know, I had to learn a lot of that just from failure. And that's why now I'm smart enough to know if I don't know something, I'm not gonna let my kids fail from it. I'm gonna go do some research. John,
Right.
do you know, can you talk to my child? You know, and I think that helps me now because I'm okay. I'm not that prideful. If I don't know something and you know it, can you go talk to Debo or Ray? Because
Absolutely.
they need the help.
Absolutely.
Got it educated.
John?
So for me, again, you know, growing up in a household with my grandmother and grandfather, you know, back then they wasn't taught, you know, health or finances, you know. So every time, you know, we got sick, my grandmother would pray about it. You know, she would put, you know, come up with a home remedy, you know. I still remember to this day, you know, we get a cold, you know, we would go down the street to the lady down there and get that brown paper bag. You know, like, we knew what was in that brown paper bag, but you better not open that brown paper bag. And then bring it back to her and she would make a tea, you know, and then we would sit.
Sound like a long guy.
And I tell people, you know, to this day, you know, I didn't
Hot
go to
toddy.
the doctor until I joined the military when I was 18 years old. Because every time we got sick or anything happened to us, my grandmother took care of it right there, you know.
Yep.
And then, you know, my grandfather was the only person that worked in the household, you know, and they never taught us about finances, you know, oh yeah, you need to save this and save that, but it wasn't really finances. So I didn't know about credit, you know, I didn't know about this or about that, you know. And like Pastor said, you know, my learning came from failure, a lot of failure, you know, making mistakes, you know, and learning that. And then God fixed it where he wants you to be. You know, he placed the help for me, you know. He gave me the wife that he gave me. So to help, you know, guide me through the path, you know. So that helped out, that helped me out a lot, you know, because if it had been just me, I'd have still be making a lot of those mistakes. Right. Yeah, I would have made a lot of mistakes. But at the same time, you know, it changed my kids too, you know, because now, you know, my son went to get a house, you know, his credit score was incredible. Like, wait a minute, boy, your credit score magnified. But that's because what was instilled in him, you know, because what his parents had got, you know, what his father and mother had got, you know, now we can pass that on, you know. But again, to Pastor's point earlier about the churches are not teaching these things. You know?
That's right.
And it should be coming from that pulpit.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
There's no reason you should be sitting there and just saying, oh, pray about this. Pray. God tells us prayer without works is in vain. You know?
Yes,
You
right.
got to
That's
go
right.
out there and do the work.
That's
You know,
right.
so going out there doing the work is you reading, getting the knowledge of, you know, how do I take care of my finances? You know, how do I take care of myself?
Yeah.
My health is very important, you know. So those things weren't instilled in us early on, but that doesn't mean it should stop. You know, we should be carrying that on to our kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one of the things that I do. You know, I make sure that my kids are fed that. You know, so that they could hopefully pass it on to their kids. And it can continue going on and on. And I just hate to put it as a category of, blacks, but we as blacks, sometimes we don't pass that on.
Yeah, that's true.
We just stay stagnant. Oh, we can't do this. Yes, we can. There's nothing that holds us back from doing anything. Yes, we should be praying about it, but we got to put that work in also.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
It's very
That's
valuable.
good.
Absolutely.
That's
Debo?
Growing up, my health was always good. I think that's because me being an athlete, playing in sports or whatnot, I've always know how to keep my body well. I've had to always go get physicals for my sport, so I've always kept up with my health. So health was never a problem. I know how to, pass that along to my children, even family members or anybody else who needs it. Now, as far as finance, only thing I knew, you needed money to live. That's all. You work a job, you get your money, you pay for whatever you need, and you keep on going. As far as saving, credit, knowing how to do all things, I didn't start to learn that until I got to college. Once I got to college, that's when I started knowing. I'm like, okay, this is something important. This is something that you really have to start to do. As far as like getting things ready for the next generation wealth, passing it along, I knew nothing about it. And I knew like it was, and like he said, that goes back to, not pointing it to us, but I've seen the other ones, have their family just pass them down money.
Yes.
They've had, already ready for them.
Yes.
And that's something that I feel like that we should take more in our, in our community, just teaching our kids, it's everybody, generational wealth. Learning how to investment accounts, having an investment portfolio, just different ways just to always draw in money, multiple sources of income. Things that's really important in life than rather just trying to find a 9-to-5. It's more to business and finance than we actually know.
Yes,
Like my dad says, it goes to actually, you have to get educated about it.
Yes.
When you don't know something, you can't just sit there and be like, okay, I don't know nothing. It is what it is. You gotta want to learn. You gotta have that want. A lot of people say they want to do it, but you really don't got that want.
Absolutely.
Like I've seen my dad. My dad has, like you said, he really didn't know much about it. Like he's gotten better, way better over the years as far as his finance, being a businessman. I never, in a day when I was growing up, I didn't think my dad would be a businessman. I didn't think my dad would be a preacher.
Okay, that boy.
I'm seriously talking. I'm telling you, when he changed his life,
We're about to cut to commercials.
once he changed his life, I was like, oh man, like it's actually possible to flip a leaf.
That's right.
To get your life together, to learn how to do better, and he did. I honestly believe, like, not only for himself, but I think he did it for us also. Like him having kids and knowing that he had to do better, it pushed him to do better.
That's right.
And I think, what Mr. John was saying as far as, him and Miss Wendia, I thank God that I have the mothers of my children that I have. You think about like a Father's Day, I tease them all the time. I be wanting a smoker, a motorcycle. I be just talking a whole bunch of trash. I really look for nothing for my children, honestly. Because one of the greatest gifts that I got from my children was their mothers. We haven't always seen eye to eye on things, but when it came down to it, I don't know. I thank God that I was able to be in my children's life as much as I was. But if I had to do some comparison, there is no comparison to the workload and the sacrifice they had to make. And I didn't learn, even though my mom was a single mom, it was just me and my mother for a long time before, before Big Head Tyree popped up in the picture. It wasn't until, and honestly, it wasn't until Joshua moved with us that I recognized, like, wow, this is a lot of work. This is a lot of work. And I felt so bad. And don't y'all kick me out. I say y'all hope y'all love me as your pastor when I tell you this. Don't put me out the church. I hadn't been so used to it. Shalata, no lie. I forgot to feed the boy one night. I said,
Oh, Lord.
no, I'm serious. I was so used to just taking care of me every day. So if I didn't eat by the end of the night, I'm like, I'll just eat tomorrow. And then one day I got home and I'm like, oh crap, I ain't even fixed the boy nothing to eat.
Lord have mercy.
I ain't even asked. So I went, I said, Josh, did you eat? Josh said, yeah. I made me a sandwich. I was like, yeah, that's good. You made it's good you made you a sandwich. That's what I was thinking. But in my head, I'm like, boy, I ain't fed that, boy. And I recognized, like, one of the greatest things as a father, I mean, and I can say this, my children mother know, I tell them often how much I appreciate them. One of the greatest things as a father is to have a good mother for your children.
Yes.
I mean, that is one of the greatest things. Yes, it's good to have great fathers too, and I know it's Father's Day, but for me, you know, that's my gift. Just knowing that my children still have some great mothers. I thank God for it. I literally can't say that my children's mothers were some, you know, street women out there just, you know, my kids were well taken care of. I thank God for that. You know, my story is a lot different. You know, so when it comes to like my son, I try to protect my son from stuff. You know, this is my oldest child. Me and Raven always tease. We got this little inside joke that Debo is the oldest sibling, but Raven is the oldest child. Because Raven thinks she's the mama of our siblings. Okay. So I try to protect Debo from so much. I didn't want him to go through, you know, I didn't want him to have, you know, children in different places, this and third. And my son his situation kind of almost fell exactly how my situation was.
Crazy.
But I thank God that God, you know, years later, because I remember people cracking jokes about me, Mr. John, because they used to call my kids the ghetto twins.
They still do?
They still call y'all the ghetto twins?
Ghetto twins.
They used to call them the ghetto twins because at the time, you know, I'm just being transparent. I had that was his mother and Raven's mother. There was 2 women pregnant, getting ready to have my children. I'm like, this cannot be Quinn's story. This just cannot be. I'm the golden child. This ain't supposed to happen. So I had 2 children born 2 days apart.
Oh, wow.
And so everybody talked so much stuff like, hi. Everybody thought he was going to be this and he that. So it was kind of like looking down on me. But I can thank God because when I look back now, both of my children are college graduates. Both of my children are close with each other. Both of my children are in the church. So what they laughed at then, I didn't let it get me. I kept fighting, kept pushing because my children was going to still see the best in life. And I thank God, you know, that we were able to mature in so many areas, me and their mothers. You know, there's nothing now for any of them to get on the phone, hey, you know, and talk. But it took us time to get there. It took us time. So for me, that was a gift for me to just know that my children have some solid mothers. That is I'm thankful for that.
All right.
Pastor, that's very important that God writes our story. You know, before, you know, we even come here, you know, he'd already wrote our story for us, you know, and then we can't see it, you know, we don't even realize and understand it, but he's already wrote the story out, you know, and having that helpmate is so important, whether they are in the house with you or not, just having that, you know, equal balance, you know, especially when you got somebody with a level head. That's very important.
Yes. Oh, this has been good so far. So we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Listen, it's PJ, and I am so excited to invite y'all out to the G1 Experience. This year, we have a brand new thing going on. I want to invite ages 1 all the way to 4 to Squad Sprout. That's our nursery, and we're doing great things there. Then you can join us ages 5 all the way to 7 for Squad Impact. Squad Impact 2.0 is ages 8 all the way to 10, and then you can come hang with me because I'm the best one. Seriously, in Squad CTG at ages 11 all the way to 18. So I invite you out every single Sunday, 10 a.m. for the G1 Experience. We are God first, and we're keeping him first always.
And we're back. Oh, that first session was amazing.
It was.
Yes,
That
it was.
good stuff.
Oh, my
Yes, it
goodness.
was. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So now we're going to ask the ladies a couple questions before we get on out of here. All right. So the first one is, how important is a father in the lives of their sons?
I'll start.
Go ahead, Lakeith.
I think a father is so important in their son's life because, like the fellows have already said, there's only so much we as ladies can teach our sons because mothers are nurturers. You know, although we know that we're supposed to be that tough one, sometimes for boys it's hard to do that. I mean, that's my baby. I mean, my sons are 20 plus years old and I still call them my babies. But they're not babies, they're grown men. So I can show them what I can from a woman's standpoint, but what they need to know as a man, I can't teach them that. And so for me, knowing that my kids lost their dad at an early age, you know, at the age where they needed a father, to me that was kind of a hard point for me because it's like they're here, they've lost their father, they don't have any males that are technically stepping up to teach them certain stuff. So I feel like there's some areas where my sons may be lacking because they didn't get that father experience at that teenage level because when my husband passed, they were just going into that part. So as a mom, I tried to do the very best I could do, you know, because Pastor Baker had said, and I think John touched on, you know, as moms, we're still raising men to be husbands and fathers. And you want them to know that this is how you're supposed to treat your future wife, your kids, when you become that individual. So I do think my kids losing their father at an early age kind of hindered some things as far as what my sons learned. So I could only teach them what I could teach them from a woman's standpoint, you know, so.
Shalinda?
It's kind of tough for me because I'm a daddy's girl, so I have a brother, but he wasn't around his father either. So my mom raised him from birth on her own. So watching him grow up, now he's a father. It's kind of hard. I mean, he has a daughter, so it's easier to be a father to her because of my mom, coming from a woman. But if he would have had a son, I think it would have been difficult because he didn't have that father. So I know he still wonder what kind of man he can be for his daughter because of not having a father. But other than that, I just don't. I just hope he, become the man that he needs to be.
Okay. Miss Tanya.
So mine is where my parents divorced when we were young, but growing up, my brothers didn't get to see a whole lot from my dad. My dad was never at home. And when he was at home, my father would physically abuse my mother. So my brothers didn't really get to understand and know about what a father should be. And so they had to learn it on their own, sort of by the family members, like uncles, my uncles, my mother's brothers, and like our grandfather and those people, and then even some people at the church, because my mother has always had us in the church. So my brothers have learned pretty much from maybe seeing some cousins and even from people at the church, but not really know the foundational things of how to be a father. And so that was one of the things I don't think they were able to have the advantages of. So yeah, it was tough, but it's something that we all learned to just overcome and out of the missing of our parents and my father the way that he was with my mother when they were married. Yep.
Well, I would say my two brothers, they have the same mom, and of course we all have the same dad. So dad was on child support for all of us. So he wasn't in the home with me at all, but he was with the older of the two brothers most of his life, and then my younger brother just a little bit of it, because he was married to her. So they actually had, because dad faced alcoholism as well, and so I'm still a daddy's girl. Even though he wasn't with me that much, of course I spent the weekends there, here and there, and I always tell y'all the time that he was the one that told me, I love you 24/7. So to me, none of the other stuff mattered. That the fact that he wasn't there for graduation, he wasn't there for prom, he wasn't there for a lot of big things in my life. So it really, the most thing for me was when I was around him and he told me he loved me over the phone 24/7.
And that's even, and he really told me he loved me when he was drunk. I'm just telling you, I really felt the love then. So that part, I think with my brothers, they both have, one has a daughter, and one has a son. They have just, to this day, been great fathers. So they did have uncles. They had a village to help them along the way on both sides. My uncle and also the uncle, they stayed a lot with them. So it helped them be the men that they are, even though he wasn't there. So I always say that God always has a ram in the bush, you know, that whenever somebody wasn't there, somebody stepped right on in to help my brothers be the men that they are today. They're both married and doing what they do now. They're pretty much, they probably got an ugly side too, but from what I see, because we all got it, they've been great men. So, you know, and also too, with me raising 2 sons along with my husband, I don't know what I would do if it was just me. I commend all of you or anybody out there that have raised boys or children without the father. I couldn't even, I know I could probably walk in those shoes, but I wouldn't want to. And I couldn't imagine him not being there to help me to raise them and help me financially, help me emotionally, or help me understand the male perspective. Because I'm the only female in the house besides the dog. So some of the things I don't know and I can't do because I'm a female. And like you said, with the parts and all that stuff too, I can't tell you about that either. You know, I barely don't want to hear it, but it is life. You know, I do want to say to open the door for you can come talk to me, but there's something that you're going to talk to your father about. And I can only respect that as well. So I am thankful for him being the father that he has been for my boys, because again, I don't know what I would do. Now, it's even when they was infants, when they were younger and getting up and crying, and we taking turns, you know, with bottles and changing diapers and stuff like that. Doing that by yourself. Oh my God. I couldn't imagine. So it's so important to have the fathers in these sons' lives because they need it. You know, so that's my spiel on that. So my next question. How has your relationship with your father impacted the men you choose or chose? Lord have mercy.
That's a good question.
Do you want me to start or you?
Come on, Dad. Come on.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Whoever ready.
It has impacted to the point of me knowing what I don't want, and that from my father. You know, again, my father. Now, right now, I can say right now, my dad just did not know how to be a dad. He just didn't know how to be one. He just didn't. You know, even though we knew my grandparents, I knew his father, I knew my grandfather, so I got to see them interact, and I know his side of the family. But my dad, when I really look at it, he just did not know how to be a dad. He didn't know. And I have a younger sister, and I look at her because his wife that he's been with now for 30 plus years, my younger sister, I can tell my dad doesn't know, and she grew up in the household with him. But my dad, he still just doesn't know. I can tell that from when I talk to her and I just see their interaction. My dad just doesn't know how to do it. So it's something that he just wasn't taught and he didn't know. But what I know for me is when it comes to me choosing a mate for me, I know that I'm looking for someone that's totally opposite from I do need somebody to be a strong man that is good at making good decisions when it comes to finances, when it comes to making major decisions. I need to know that, and just also know that they have a good temperament, and also that they are truly love the Lord, that they are a Christian. I do need, that's very important, because for me, I got to see my father finally become a Christian later in life when we were all adults. That's awesome. You know, which is great, and I'm glad he was able to do that. So I do know that even if you have people who've been doing things wrong all along, God will change you.
Yes, he can.
God will change you. So I understand that. But yeah, it's impacted that I know what I don't want when it comes to him. So it's always going to be looking for that person that just is totally different from my dad. Totally.
Well, I'm glad you cleaned that up, Sister Tanya, because when you said you wanted a strong man, You made a little move with you.
I tried to ignore it. I tried to ignore it too. I felt it.
She said,
I felt it.
I need a strong man. I don't know what strong man means.
She almost pushed me out that chair.
Strong man. Thank you for clearing that up.
Oh my God. Lakeitha.
Lakeitha, you want a strong man.
I would tell you, you gotta have a strong man.
Oh my God.
For me, because like Crystal said, I'm a daddy's girl. I'm the youngest of my dad's kids. We have a very, very tight relationship. My daddy calls me every Sunday just to check on me, see how I'm doing, even at this age. And he's even to the point now, even when I call my dad and say, Daddy, you know, I met so-and-so. Wait a minute. You just make sure you let him know I'm crazy. Let him know I'm crazy. I don't play about my daughter. I'm like, Daddy, I'm 46. I don't play about my daughter. I don't mind going to jail. Daddy, hold on. Wait a minute. Calm down, sir. But yeah, I'm telling you, Robert don't play. But anyway, so just the love that my dad had for me, it makes me, I don't want my daddy love, you know, it's a different type of love.
Right.
But my dad has shown me what to expect when it comes from a man. Not to just accept anything. Don't let a man just dangle something in front of you that looks like love, but it's not really love. You know, that there may be some motives behind what he's dangling in front of me. Even at this age now that I'm going through this after being married for 16 years, I'm out, you know, dating again. And so what I'm running to now as opposed to when I was married is totally different. It's a whole new world out here now. And so, yeah, just the love that my dad has for me and the love that he gives me and he shows me is genuine. Yeah, that's what I'm just seeking, that genuine love. But like Tanya said, I want a strong man as well. You know, because as a woman that's had to do it by myself for so long now, I can do things now. You know, there were some things that my husband taught me before he died that, you know, that has helped me along the way. And so I can do things for myself. I can provide for me and my kids and all that good stuff. So I need someone that can come in and help balance that. I want to take my cape off. I've been wearing it a long time.
Amen.
So I want somebody that can come in and take some of this off of me. I can still hold my own, but to know that somebody can say, I got that. You don't have to worry about that. So, yeah.
You better preach, honey.
Yeah.
Strong man. You hear that, don't you?
Strong man. Strong man.
Cape off.
Strong
Sister
man.
Tanya, could you help her this morning? We're gonna help you all together. Amen. You help her on the count of 3. You do what Sister Tanya does, okay?
Strong
1,
man.
2, 3.
Strong man.
There you go.
You felt that. You felt that. You coming. You felt it all the way down from here. Oh my God. Come on, Shalonda.
Ooh. Mine's a little touchy.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I had to break the mold.
Okay. That's your story.
My dad showed me 2 versions of men. My dad wasn't there in my life for 15 years, my first 15 of my life. So during that time, I experienced the abusive men, the men that don't know how to treat women. I got that version in my first half of my life because I didn't have a dad. But after that, when my dad became in my life, he did show me what a man's supposed to do for a woman. So I got that other version of a man. So I experienced both of it. And it sucks because my dad, I'm my dad's only daughter. He has 3 kids. He has 2 sons, and I'm in the middle. It hurted me a lot because he was the father to them from the time they was born, and still is. But for me, it's like I was gypped. Like, I only got half of him. But I do notice that what he does for my daughter, he tries to make up for it. So, I'm glad she's able to know what a man's supposed to, how a man's supposed to treat a woman, because my relationship with her father was the version of my dad, my absentee dad. So if I would have had that dad present during that time, I'm not saying I love my daughter, but I probably would have had a different outcome
Got you.
of a relationship with the person who I had her with. So it's very, like, still to this day, even though my dad, I'm a daddy's girl now. He's the best dad ever. I just, and I hate that he tries to make up with tangible, you know, because anything I ask for, like you said, a no, he can't say no to me. He be wanting to, he be like, I can hear, he be like, well, how much you need? What you want? And he was like, oh, why you always call me for the big amount? You call me for the thousands, but you ask your mom for the hundreds. And I'm like, but, you know, I do thank him now for what he's doing now for me, and he's showing me what type of man that I want now. Even though he's been married twice, he's a great man. He's a military dad too.
That's wonderful.
And I didn't experience it too because he traveled a lot, but I felt like, again, I felt gypped because my siblings was able to travel the world. But while you have a daughter at home that you don't call, then you know what I'm saying? You don't know if I ate, you don't know if I had a bed to sleep in. And it's like, and then I could see my brothers just flaunting like, oh, I've been here, or I've been there. And it was just like so devastating. But still to this day, I feel like my dad still couldn't do no wrong. Because at the end of the day, that was at the end of, my mom was like, you calling for him, he don't do nothing for you. And it's like, that's still my dad. Like, he'd come in town and visit, and I just be like, it just as if I see him all my life. That 1 hour, just him being there, buying me a pair of sneakers. When I say I cherish these one pair of sneakers that he ever bought me for years, and I would not let my mom throw them away. Because it's like, I felt like some type of connection with him. But, you know, it's just, I'm like I said, I'm just glad that he's where he is right now with me. And I'm glad I'm able to, I pray I find a man that, you know, is a dad like him.
That's strong.
That's strong, yeah. That's strong.
We have one married and 3 single. 1 have already declared. 2 has already declared.
One more time.
Oh, Lord, we just need this 3rd one
Yes,
to declare.
yes.
So on the count of 3.
Okay.
You gonna declare what kind of man you want.
Yes.
Somebody shout amen in the comment field. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3.
A strong man.
Oh my God. Hey, y'all hear it out there? Strong. Don't tap in unless you're strong. Oh my God. I want to say to you too, Shalonda, it goes back to what Tony was saying earlier, and also Pastor. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yes.
And the way God lined that up to where you didn't have him for them years, but you have him now.
Yes.
Be thankful.
Yes.
And it's great to hear that your emotions really didn't change with him. Now it's like, that's my daddy.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's my
mean? It
dad.
still stayed the same no matter what. So I thank God for that. So that's really good.
And that's why, and when you said like having a dad, you know, you said you want your dad around, but did you want the dad? Because for what my siblings told me, that my dad was real strict. He was a military dad, so you had to clean up, bed made. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to handle that. So, you know,
That's why God writes our stories.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
it.
That's why I
That's
said
it.
I
You have to
agree.
rejoice in where
You knew what you needed.
Yes.
You knew what you needed.
I don't think I would have been able to handle that.
Well, for me, I would say, I had to go through a lot of jokers to get to where I am. But I don't think they had nothing to do with my daddy. To be honest, I did, you know, from him again. I tell y'all again, the man need to tell you he love you. But my daddy loved me. He said he loved me all the time. So I require that you tell me you love me, show me you love me, you know? But I don't think it had nothing to do with the bad choices that I made with them. I think that was all me.
Yes.
So I can't put that on him.
Right.
So I just, no. I think because he wasn't around enough to talk about those things and to say, you know, just like you said, your daddy said, you know, that's my baby and I need to meet him. I never went through that. So cherish that. I wish I had that. I lost my dad in 2020. And when you said your dad called you on Sundays, I see that call every day at 6 o'clock in the morning. And that's a struggle that I still, Father's Day is bad for me. Because I'm still waiting on that call that I'll never get again. So I say to you, cherish that. Because when you don't hear it anymore, it's a struggle. It's been 4 years in July because he passed the day after his birthday. And I struggled that day and Father's Day because Father's Day was the last time that I gave him a gift, was Father's Day. And so cherish those moments. I go back again to, I chose all them bad ones. It went daddy, but I still required you to show me that you love me. And I love you. I did get one to tell me that he loves me and to show me that he loves me as well. So I'm thankful for that. So I'm gonna stop crying because we finna move on.
That's okay though.
But it's just that daddy's
real.
girl,
That's your truth.
that daddy's girl just so different. And I don't know if you guys truly understand as fathers.
Yes. Yeah.
Not to discredit a son with his father,
But a daughter.
but for a
Yes,
daughter.
yes.
Because that's
You
the
have
first
no
love.
idea. You have no idea the love and how much y'all mean to us as fathers. And it doesn't matter how bad it was
Yeah.
and what you went through.
Yeah.
Still a daddy's girl. So I commend you guys for being great men and great fathers.
Yes,
Not
definitely.
only to your daughters, but to your sons as
Great, great
well.
fathers, great.
Also to the ones on Facebook as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the great dads
Yes.
out there
Yes.
that's doing what they're
Great
supposed
fathers
to
out
do
there.
and raising your kids and doing it the right way.
Yeah.
So shout out to you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and end this with all my tears and dry tissue on my
I need you
face.
to stop rubbing before you rub them lashes off.
Yeah, I'm about to rub these lashes off, but it's all right because I'm crying for my daddy. But
That's your deity.
that's my daddy.
Deity.
So we're gonna go ahead and close out, but we do have some things going on here at the View,
Yes.
the People's
The
Church.
People's Church.
Yes, we do. The first thing is we're gonna be doing 100 by 100 on June 23rd. That means you go ahead and donate $100 to the church for the different projects and things that we have moving here at the People's Church.
Amen.
So guess what, Facebook? You can give your 100 too.
Yes.
We do take it. We do take Givelify.
Yes.
We also take a mailed-in check.
Yes.
You know, whatever you want to come on the service, or you can just hear our great pastor preach the word at 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. Bring that 100 on with you.
Yes.
All right.
All right now.
Also, too, have our Selah Sunday. No in-person church.
Right.
On Fifth Sunday, it will be all virtual.
Yes.
Now, Lakeitha, did you say woohoo?
Yes,
Well,
she did.
well,
It sounds like
I
you're saying
did.
woohoo.
Because Crystal, you know, I live in, across town and
You do.
in the river and all that stuff. So not to have to drive.
Yeah, you do live in
that's
Alabama.
all. I love being here now. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to all, Pastor said that we're just going to take a break for Fifth Sunday and just tune in virtually. So we thank God for that
Amen.
as well for Fifth Sunday. Also, our marriage ministry with
All right, come
the
through,
Wooders,
baby.
him and his beautiful wife, Miss Wendia,
Yes.
as well. They will be meeting at 4:30 in the G1 building on June 22nd.
Yes.
Come on and bring your significant other with you.
Yes.
Come and see what the marriage ministry is doing. You never know. It may help you get stronger and better. So we thank God for that as well. Also, don't forget to sow your $25 seed today
Yes,
as well.
yes, yes.
It goes to our community to give it to our outreach ministry. So go ahead and sow that 25. All the ways to give are on the screen. So do what you do with that $25. So we want to thank you again for tuning in at the latest view, the Father's Day.
Yes.
Father's Day edition.
Now, Crystal,
Yes.
you gotta
Yes.
tell the fathers why they need to come out on Sunday,
Oh,
though, for
yeah.
Father's Day. Make sure, yeah, let's tell them.
Now
about
on
that.
Sunday, we need
Yes.
all you fathers to come out. We got some giveaways that we're gonna give away
Yes,
on
yes.
Sunday for our
Yes.
fathers.
Yes.
Because you
Come
know,
on
I
out.
said in the beginning how y'all try to act like we don't do nothing for y'all.
Yeah.
We gonna do something for y'all on
Yes,
Sunday. So
really
come on
special.
out and
Come on
join
out.
us to hear a
Come on
great
out.
word as well at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning.
Yes, come on out, man. Get your bowl of soup. That's probably all we're going to
See what I'm talking about? He still ain't feeling it yet. He ain't. We gonna have to pray a little harder because he ain't feeling it yet.
A gift is a gift, Pastor.
A gift is a gift. Don't do that.
It's
At least
coming
it's
from
going to
the
be
heart.
chicken noodle soup.
Exactly. You ain't get broth. I'm just saying. So, come on out here Sunday. We're going to have a great time in the Lord. We thank you so much again,
Yes, yes.
Facebook, for tuning in.
And
Oh,
happy Father's
Happy
Day.
Father's Day.
Happy
See you next
Father's Day.
month.
Yes. Thank
Yes.
you.